thank you for allowing us in your home.
No.
We don't take that for granted in any way. You know, we're sitting here with Jelly Roll, you know, out in, what is this, Franklin?
Yeah.
In Franklin. So it's been amazing for us, man. Amazing experience to get to see your wife, man, see all the things that you guys have built and been able to do. So we appreciate it. This is Fred Taylor. That's Channing Crowd. I'm Ryan Clark, Pivot Fam. Thank you for pivoting with us. Jelly, man, when you did your contract, right, you asked for two things a while back. I think it was 2020, 2021. You wanted to be in the local newspaper, which is crazy to me.
You seen that hung up in the hall?
Yeah, you wanted to be in the local newspaper, and you wanted to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. You had to miss it this year for the anniversary. How difficult was it, man, to know you were supposed to perform, be sick in a way where you couldn't, and not be able to show up for country music and for the fans?
Man, it breaks my soul, Ryan. My Uncle Buford used to tell me this story about he called his father, which would be my grandfather, one time. And he said, I can't come into work today, I'm sick. And all Big Buford said, my grandfather said was, that's good. Working sick builds character. I'll see you in a minute. Hung up the phone. So I pride myself on sick shows. Like, I love when there's a little, like, especially if I'm kind of really sick, I'm like, I'm finna go out here and go. So anytime I'm so sick that I can't go, it scares me, especially because I've been focused so much on getting my health right. I've canceled one show in the last 5 years because of an ailment, and it was the Grand Ole Opry 100. It just broke my heart, man. I just could not break this fever. And I've never had a fever that just kept me down like I probably slept like 20 hours, like one of those just kind of things. But especially Grand Ole Opry and what it means to country music, and that's all I wanted. That was my whole thing. It's funny, when we walked up them steps, the first thing you see to the right is that newspaper clipping I asked for, because like, I was like, man, because I was in my local newspaper for a crime a couple of times. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I had mugshots in that same paper. I was like, this is redemption for me. You know what I mean? This is a chance to write that a little bit. But yeah, I hated it, man. And but I'm glad to be get through the cold though. Man, I hate anytime I got to miss a show. I hate anytime I got to miss almost anything. I got FOMO anyways. I'm a real, like, I spend my whole life in one isolated area doing nothing with my life. Yeah. Now that things are going good, I want to be as many places as I can be, doing as much as I can possibly do. When people go, you're doing the most, I was like, I should be. If you grew up where I grew up, you would be too, man.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not doing enough.
Like the modesty of you, bro, because we've been around you a bunch, and you filling up stadiums, and you'll see us and come up, bro, what's going on, fellas, and all. And it's almost humbling us, like, damn, Jelly Roll remembers my face. Like, does that come from the grind and the drive and what you've been through? Where does all that come from, bro? Because you're one of the coolest dudes in the world.
No, stop, Papa. I love you, man. I love people. I think that's what it really comes down to, because I love people, and I spent so much time hating. I spent so much time just not loving people, just being a not good person, just not caring about people, selfish, narcissistic at times, probably even, as sick and disgusting as that may sound. I mean, I look back like I tell people, I'm not proud of my past, I'm embarrassed by it. You know what I mean? It made me want to be the polar opposite of who I was. Everybody talks about a 360-degree turn, but I don't want to end up back where I was at any point. I had to do a 180. I had to completely turn my back on what was, and I still have to kill that little monster every day. But man, I just love people, and I love y'all. I love the show, so seeing y'all's real easy for me, because it's like, as a musician, I think people don't understand how much time we spend traveling. So like, our companionship is within our little bubble of people and what we consume. Yeah. And when I'm recording music, I'm not listening to music. That's my rule. If I'm writing music, like if I'm in a writing cycle, I won't listen to music because I don't want to be influenced by it. So we're watching the pivot. You know what I mean? I'm to a point in my career, I've only done podcasts that I've actually watched, like that I'm truly a fan of. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my personality anyways. I got questions. I've been wanting to bust Fred Taylor's ass all day. As soon as he came in, the first thing I said, I was like, I hope he sees all my Titan shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, that, to me, that was fun, because I know his spirit. I watched the show, so I knew he'd giggle about that. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, but.
Nah, it's definitely love for us, man. But Jelly, Jason Bradley, the Ford, or JBD, just Big Dog.
Yep.
Right?
Thank you.
You speak about your struggles a lot, that I'm sure have saved tons and tons of people. When you were just giving us the tour, I saw something on your wall that kind of hit me, right? And I just want to get into it about purpose. It said, the purpose of life is not to be happy, it's to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and you have lived well. Your purpose now, as you see it going forward, all the lives that you've touched, that you're gonna touch, what's your purpose in life going forward?
I think my purpose is to help heal as I'm healing. I think I just want to help people too. I say it all the time, but I mean it, Fred. I tore down, man. I literally, I glaze over 15 years of criminal activity in like a 3-second excerpt. But man, that's 15 years of trauma. Man, that's 15 years of real pain, man. You know what I mean? That's 15 years of like still having nightmares. You know what I mean? Like I'm still trying to write a bunch of that. I was praying, and people think I'm crazy for this, but I talk to God like I talk to everybody. I might even cuss when I pray. You know, I'm having that much of a fluid conversation. I was like, I don't think we're in the green yet, God, but are we to the black yet? You know what I'm saying? I think we're out of the red. Can we say it's even now? Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, are we close to it being even? I'd like to start planting new seeds. I think I'm still cleaning up the old garden a little bit. You know what I mean? But that quote I live by so much, Fred, is that I don't even want to be happy no more. I just want to be useful. Right. When I started looking at myself, that's also a big part of my faith, right? Is that I have a servant's heart. Like every situation I want to look at from an angle of how can I serve this situation? And you spend so many years looking at every situation like how can it serve me? It's kind of fun when you flip it. You're like, oh, this is a whole new angle of life now. Like I'm actually looking for ways to work my way into things where I used to look for ways to fuck things up. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to walk into situations like, I wonder how fast I can blow this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You know, now it's like, I used to anticipate a no. Now I'm looking for a yes. It's a totally different approach.
And on the other side of that, what's your biggest fear?
Man, this is, I don't know if I want to be this transparent. Losing it. You know, man, when you don't never have nothing and then you get something, at first you got this thing where you're like, I go to nothing again and be okay. Right. And then you have something for a while and you be like, man, God, please don't let me go back to nothing, man. This is like, not even as the person, like the security, like I've never felt more secure in my life. Like I feel secure in my marriage. I feel secure with my relationship with my kids. Like that's a special kind of security. And I still have that kind of old mental health thing where I have that impending doom. Are y'all familiar with this concept? Mm-hmm. Where like, as soon as things are going really good, you start bracing for impact, where you're just like, I don't deserve for it to be good. It should be being bad any moment. You know what I mean? And I fear that. I still walk around a little. Plus there's 15 years of 20 years, 30 years, 35 years, 4 years of me not being this good person that existed. You know what I mean? Like at some point you're like, I worry about my past still. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that, you know, you don't live. Those are my fears. Man, I've never said that, but that's the truth. That's what I'm afraid of.
Jelly, how much did that past, how much did all that trauma play a role in one of your first big splurges being therapy for you and your daughter?
So much. And I still live into therapy now. Like my best investment I've made in myself ever was in myself, between the ears. Even this weight loss I'm having right now, this is a direct effect of me getting better up here. You know what I mean? Like, I never looked at food like an addiction or like I did everything else, like a coping mechanism. Like I looked at cocaine, like I looked at alcohol, like I looked at pain pills. You know what I mean? And it turns out it was kind of the same thing. And whenever I really started getting under the hood, you know what I mean? And it was important for me to lead that way with my daughter. It was important for her to see her father be vulnerable so she could be vulnerable because, you know, she came from a really broken home. She was born, her father was incarcerated, her mother was a full-blown drug addict. She lived in a just complete trap house until she was almost 8 years old when me and my wife got custody of her. I'm talking about dirty feet, broken glass. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And then she comes into a situation where she's now got full custody of a man that she hardly knows, every other weekend dad at best that would take her fishing and drop her off. She wouldn't even stay the night. I wasn't allowed to by court law. You know what I mean? Like, and here she is stuck and she's got this new stepmama and she's like, what is going on? And me and Bunny are just getting together too, so we're figuring it out in front of her. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was so important for me and my wife. And that's what makes my wife who she is. Because she immediately was like, this is the right way. This is like, where Fox holed up at night, like we got to figure out a way to start doing this the right way. And we just knew, and it did so much for our whole family. This is the term we use about therapy now. We don't go to it because we need it. anymore. We go to it because we deserve it. We go to it because we've earned it. You know what I mean? And it makes us better people. And it's been so good, man. I listen, and I tell people, whether you go find you an in-person or go to something like BetterHelp, which I have no skin in the game, they should sponsor the podcast, though. They should sponsor the Pivot. I encourage people, man, if you've been through anything, even if the weird thing about therapy, too, is that it could be the smallest thing triggering something in you that you don't know, and that once it unveils it to you, you're like, oh, man. Right. Having that little piece of information has completely changed the way I operate with the world.
Jelly, you said about your wife, and I've watched a ton of things that you've done. I've read about you. You talk about her helping you save your life, right? And you got custody of Bailey. Noah was on the way. You guys get married, and you have this woman that's pouring into you and loving you. I've been dealing with worthiness lately, thinking about my past, thinking about decisions. How did you convince yourself that you were worthy and deserving of the things that were coming into your life at that time?
Man, it's God's grace is for everybody, RC. Man, God is. I still work on forgiving me, but man, I know that the dude that created me thinks I'm the dude. You know what I'm saying? And I know that might sound cliche and super Christian-y, but it's like, I know in my heart that the King of Kings thinks I'm a king. You know what I mean? So I got to get in the mirror, and sometimes that's how I got to fight that guy. I got to be like, you know what? That's cool. You don't like you, but God loves you, dude. God thinks you got a whole purpose out here. God is for you today. You know what? I bet you can't be against yourself enough that God ain't for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I just started really I started sowing them seeds in myself. And even to this day, I don't fully believe that what I'm doing is much of anything. I do think that God is finding his place in my life more every single day. Even the way I'm talking in interviews now. I've always talked about my faith, but I used to talk more about having threesomes and doing cocaine. And God would be like a little side note. Now the threesomes and cocaine are a side note. And we kind of glaze right over them. It's like, oh, yeah, that happens. Everybody does that in their 20s. You know what I mean? And it just kind of moves on. I keep looking at Ted like, this is his moment, y'all.
I'm about to say, I don't know about the cocaine. I'm a big fan of threesomes. But, Jelly, even speaking about that, like, man, was your greatness created by madness? You talk about your father's alcoholism. You talk about your mother's mental health. Like, you're so open in these interviews. And it was wild, 15 years in the judicial system and all that. Would you be Jelly Roll world famous if you were born into the Beverly Hills somewhere?
No, goodness, no. Because I don't know what my purpose would have been at that moment. I do know that God gave me unique experiences like he gives us all to help each other. You know what I mean? I think that we all go through unique experiences just to kind of help each other through this thing, to be honest. And I do know that I spent a lot of my life looking at what I didn't want. Man, my daddy told me one day, a smart man will learn from his mistakes, but a wise man will learn from the mistakes of others. Yep. And whew, man, that hit me in the stomach. You know what I mean? I was like, and what he didn't know was right then I was looking at him. As much as I love my father, we talked about it. My father died 6 years ago today. He was my best friend today, the day we're filming this podcast. But I knew right then, even when he was saying that, I was like, I don't want to drink the way you drink. You know what I mean? Like right then, it's like instantly. I was like 14 years old when he said that. And I'm looking at him going, man, I love you to death, man. And to this day, even at the height of my drug addiction, I would not drink at home. Now that's a false sense because you run around and drink till 5 a.m. to avoid going home is just as toxic. But in my mind, you know what I mean? That's honesty. But in my mind, I had this thing with my father where I was like, why could you have just not brought it home? You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't never want, so my daughter can say she has seen me come home drunk, but she can never say that she has seen me drinking at home. You know what I mean? Like these little, and I know that sounds like a weird thing to answer that with, but I could name 50 of those instances in my life. You know what I mean? Of little things that happened that was like, I don't want to do that.
You're trying to run from the wrong that you know, but are you running in the right direction or just trying to shadow it?
And the problem, goes how far you're turning. Yeah, probably just shadowing it.
Hey, Jelly, I was listening to you and Eminem collab, and here you're talking about Bailey, his daughter Haley. You guys both have had your addictions and struggles. You talk about it publicly. Are there any other parallels there? Like when you guys got together and collab, like I know one you looked at and said, I'm with one of the greatest rappers ever, and I'm singing vocals on your song, actually. Is there any parallels that you were able to pull from that situation to place it on your situation?
Well, what he knows now, because I got to tell him this in person, but I'm glad to tell the world too, is that his story inspired me from the beginning. Like, I related to him in my soul. Like a trailer park kid from Detroit that's trying to find his way out through hip hop. Mm-hmm. It immediately sat on me as a kid who grew up in and out of apartments and trailer parks his whole life. And then he has a kid named Haley, and then later in life I have a kid named Bailey. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I didn't name Bailey. I was in jail. I didn't get a vote. You know what I'm saying? She didn't care about my thought in that situation. You know what I'm saying? I love her name, but I had nothing to do with it. You know, so it's like you start going, man, this is crazy. My mother is obviously, I didn't have as dramatic. I mean, what he went through with his mother was crazy, but we all seen it publicly. But I definitely had a mother who struggled in my childhood. She's great now, but she definitely struggled. So I just related to all these elements anyways. Like, he was my voice. I seen a meme one time that I think summed it up so good. They said, Eminem raised me through my childhood. Jelly Roll's getting me through my adulthood.
Wow, that's deep.
And I was like, that's deep, right? I was like, man, that makes sense because that's how I feel. And I think that's how Marshall felt. So when he seen it, I think he was instantly connected with it because when we got to hang, man, he just immediately poured into me. Like, hey, man, I love you. I went through this with this. He told me all about his struggles, how many times it took him to get clean. Like, he was so vulnerable. It was the same dude from the music. Like, when you hear that vulnerability in the music and then you meet him and you're like, this dude is pouring his soul into me in this video set right now. You know what I mean? Like, man, that dude, he had changed my life before I met him. Mm-hmm. Now, for him to turn around and put me on a record that ends up being a platinum record is, right. He changed my life twice. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. You know, he's one of the few cases, I've met a few heroes that let me down, and that's just part of it. I've had idols become rivals. I couldn't believe that ended up being a real thing, but right. It's true. Yeah. He was the polar opposite. It was like, awesome. Don't meet your hero unless it's Eminem. You know what I mean? It's like, and then it's all good. You know?
Was that kind of part of dropping the plain smear tape? Yeah. Like when you think about that transition, yeah. Though, Jelly, it seems that a lot of times, like, country music is one of the last forms of music that are like, no, like, we want this to be pure. Yeah. We want this to be the grand Ole Opry. You know, like the story you were telling us about it starting as a radio station and it being on the airwaves. For you, having come from hip hop, you've done rock, and now you're one of the biggest country music stars in the world. What was that evolution like for you? And also, what was the welcoming like into country music?
Man, the music followed the man. So Jason changed first, and he just drugged the music along with him, you know? This is one of those many cases in my life, and I've been guilty of this probably more than anybody I know, where I spent so much of my life being judged by things, how I looked or who I was associated with or whatever, that I used to think, I don't judge nobody because of that. Man, I was a judgmental motherfucker, RC. I was so judgmental. I did not realize that until I got older. I judged everybody even harder. So it's like, I walked into country music like, they're not gonna like me. Like, this is gonna be a disaster. Like, this can't go good for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is gonna be so embarrassing, and I don't know how I'm gonna figure this out. And it was the polar opposite. The first country music award show, now I'm a country music fan, right? A huge, like, I can talk about the history of country music like y'all can sports. Like, I don't love any genre of music even close to as much as I love country music. It's a blowout. Country mile blowout. I know all these people. They don't know me. I'm walking in like a big old fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, let's see if anybody knows who I am yet. I'm at the first award show, it's the CMTs, and Cody Johnson is a just big old cowboy from Texas. Y'all would love this guy. You talking about, like, I'm a country dude, but Cody Johnson's a cowboy, big difference. He's like wrangling horses and cattle every day and tagging them and shit. He literally will go do a stadium and then go home and tag cattle and FaceTime me on a horse. It's wild. He's a complete cowboy. I'm such a fan of his. Like, I had went to a show of his in Nashville when he sold like 500 tickets. Like, that much of a fan. And I show up to the country, and I think he's probably one of the first people I seen. And that dude gave me a hug like I hug people. And he was like, put his arm on my shoulder. He said, I'm so proud of you, man. You deserve this. I'm so happy for you. And we just immediately connected. And right then I was like, I think I'm gonna be okay. Because if there was one person, like, it was, the funnier part was, let me tell you how God works. I was so convinced that country music was not gonna like me that the first 5 friends I made in country music were the countryest of the country music people. Right. You know what I'm saying? It was Riley Green. They call him Duck Man because he was a famous duck hunter. Laney Wilson, who is from Spit Bucket, Louisiana, from Baskins, Louisiana.
Laney Wilson, we love you. Continue.
Laney Wilson, the pivot loves you. Please come sit down on this couch. You make these boys here. We got to talk about her later. She's the GOAT. She is the best person I've ever worked with in my life. She's like my sister. I love her to death. But Laney Wilson immediately, Brantley Gilbert immediately, Cody Johnson immediately, Craig Morgan immediately. Like, it was the real, you couldn't deny their country credibility guys. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because there was some, like me and Morgan Wallen were already cool. You know what I mean? But he's so rhythmic and hip hop, and he's king of country right now anyway. So like, he lives on his own island of greatness. You know what I mean? But we were homies. But it's like, outside of him, I didn't know a bunch of people in country music. You know what I mean? And they just immediately, it's like, I told my wife, I was like, it couldn't have went better for me. Like, from Reba McEntire to Dolly Parton, immediately we're into the Jelly Roll thing. It was really cool.
Did you feel a sense of success then by the way they embraced you? Because earlier we spoke about success being given, or at least that's what Anthony Mackie said on one of our previous podcasts. When we met post at that bar.
How cool does that feel to say?
Nashville Palace, right?
But talk about this. How cool was that to sit down with Captain America?
That was
right after he was Captain America.
Oh, that was great.
Is that not crazy? If you're just casual, like, yeah, so we were talking to Anthony Mackie. And it's like, that's Anthony Mackie, dude. I watched the podcast.
I call him Captain America every time I talk about him.
I will
because
too.
It's freaking Captain America.
Yeah,
right.
And the thing, people, that blew our minds, all of us, we're sitting there in New Orleans, and you're sitting there, and we're waiting for Captain America to come. Yeah. He just comes strolling down the sidewalk by himself, chilling with his homeboy, walk in, we're like, where's the security? Where's the caravan? He was like, man, who gonna try me?
Yeah.
Like, it was
so real.
Yeah, like, it was so real. That was the thing that took from it. It was cool as hell that he was just a laid-back dude that's very talented.
Right, and even with that, you know, he said success was given.
Yeah.
But RC put it this way, that would have been better worded if he said, success, you have to be chosen.
Yeah.
You know, like, you go down Broadway here in Nashville, so much talent. Yeah. And you spoke about the people that don't get chosen.
Right.
When they accepted you or when they embrace you, was that your feeling of acceptance or I have made it moment?
My made it moment is so weird. People laugh at it, but I don't know if I've ever said it publicly. My real first made it moment was the first time I pumped gas and didn't think about how much it cost. Because I grew up such a put 5 on 5 kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I got 5 on pump 5. Yeah. This is crazy, but I'll never forget the first day that I just like went in and dropped off a $100 bill and was like, I'll be back. Turn the pump on. You know what I'm saying? It was like that day for me was like, I'm on fire. It's happened. I was like, I have made it. And it's ever since then, it's been new moments of like, oh, I made it. You know what I mean? Like, of course, the first award show, when you win an award on national TV, like that first award show I was telling you about, when you're having a moment where you're like, I grew up watching award shows on TV, and I'm now being called to, like, I was red-faced nervous. I'll never forget the anxiety I was feeling sitting in that seat. Carrie Underwood's next to me, Cody Johnson, and I'm just sitting here like, you know, my wife's just like, calm down. I was like, I gotta do something, man. You know, I mean, those were the moments that I really felt like, you know what I mean? Now, you wanna talk about being chosen? I'll tell you the moment I felt chosen. The day that I got called to go sit on Capitol Hill and discuss fentanyl and the epidemic of addiction in America. Okay. The day that they called me to go sit down with the United States Senate, that day will forever be ingrained in me because that was the day that I knew for sure that I was called. I was like, this is a calling. And I don't use that word lightly because I believe that's when you start bringing God into something, when you start claiming to be called to do something. It's like when a crazy Christian goes, I've already prayed about this. You're like, what are you talking to me about it for then? You talk to God about it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you've already prayed about it, I don't got an opinion at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my opinion's out now. But it's like, that was the day that I was like, oh, I've been chosen. Like, there's this, you know, we all see it on the internet, like, we finally made the right one famous. Mm-hmm. I had that moment of myself, like, they picked the right one this time. Yeah. Like, that's the call I'm not only going to take, but I am fixing to shock the world. I knew that. Like, I've never had a feeling of a chip on my shoulder about much. But I walked into that courthouse, and I know they said it's not a courthouse, but it fucking looked like a courthouse. I've been to a lot. You know what I'm saying? It smelled like a courthouse. It was very courthouse-ish. It was set up like a courthouse. They were high. We were low. They were on one end of the room. We were on the other. It felt very us against them. You know what I'm saying? It just, and I walked in there, but I remember walking in and being like, they don't know. I hope somebody in here has underestimated me. That's all I thought. Was like, I hope they expect me to come in here half-cocked. You know what I mean? That was the day that I really felt like, man, this is, because I'm all about purpose, right? You know what I mean? Like, I could probably tell you other stories about buying a certain watch or something. It was like, oh yeah, no, this is it. But the one that for me was like, oh no, this is it, was when I walked into there. And I was going to the Grammys 2 weeks later, so I was already, my feet hadn't touched the ground in 6 weeks since I got nominated. I was just
floating.
Yeah, I was a fucking reindeer. You know what I mean? I was skipping, dude. It was a totally different thing,
But why were you so passionate about that? About the fentanyl and about, kind of revealing to the world of being on that platform. You could worry about music, you worry about fame, you worry about money, you worry about stuff. Why are you so passionate about that topic?
Oh man, I'm passionate about broken people in all forms. But, my child's mother has struggled with drug addiction since my daughter's been born, pretty much. I've seen the effect that it had on her. Like, I've got a 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old upstairs that it's truly affected her life. Like, it's really hurt her, Shannon. The addict is not the victim in that situation. The family is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, the addict is too, obviously. They're a victim of the disease. But seeing that real impact it had, I don't have a phone right now. I have a laptop. And I have a laptop with a email and a number attached to it, but that's the only way I can communicate. So I don't have any social media. And the other day, I think my wife hit me or somebody did, and they said, hey man, call and check on the kid later. And they sent a link, and it was a news article that her mother had, this is brand new, this is like breaking news a little bit. This happened like 4 or 5 days ago. Her mother had went back to jail, had got caught with like meth or something, and I guess and that's what I told my wife. I was like, I've invited the world into our living room, so we've just got to accept what comes with that. Like, this is my fault more than anybody's, But I'm glad I get to talk about it now, so thank you for this. I needed to talk about this at some point. Man, it broke my daughter's heart. You know what I mean? It broke her heart. This is a 16, 17-year-old that knows her mother's a drug addict, but like her having to see the mugshot of her mother just ate up with meth on her face. You know what I mean? Like her just having, it's like all that, I get emotional. Watching her go through it all over again. I watched her go through it all over again. It was like, man, I forgot because I'm 40 and I've done a lot of therapy and I've done a lot of work and I have a relationship with God that it hurt me, but it was like I just got to pray about it and kind of move on. I was like, oh no, she's 16, she don't have any of them tools. She's still gaining those tools. Like this hurts her. You know what I mean? And the sad part is how that disease works and how addiction works is that her mother bails out at, I guess the drug dealer she got caught with bails her out at like 2 o'clock in the morning the other day. And I don't want to sound judgmental, but I'm from the streets. I can tell by the time the bail was posted. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It wasn't an upstanding member of society. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like, you've been in there a week, you get out at 3 in the morning. It sounded like somebody was scared you was going to tell on them. Yep. We're going to be honest. You know what I mean? But I've been here. And then that hurts her even worse because then Bailey's keeping up with the case. So she's Googling it every day and trying to figure out what's up. And then, man, we're getting deep here, boys. And Bailey's Googling the case. So Bailey, she comes and she's got a sense of humor like me. So we laugh about it. She's like, babe, this is how my kid talks and y'all gonna be mad out there and I know, but I don't care. She comes and as a joke, she goes, well, that bitch made bail this morning. And we just kind of all laugh because when she says that bitch, we know she's talking about her mom. And it's just kind of her way of humor masking. And we know it's humor masking, but she's 16. She should be able to, let her figure out her own grief, But it was good to see her at least chuckle about it because she had the opposite when I first talked to her about it, But yeah, that's what a longest answer ever on the pivot, Channing, I'm sorry. Oh, but that was all to say, that's why I'm passionate about it. You know what I mean? Is that I truly see, I know the effects it had when I was using, but to see it, I see a piece of it every single, when I said in that testimony, I see a victim every single day. I do. She's upstairs right now. You know what I mean? Like, there's a chance she'll bust down these doors before this podcast is over, come say hi. She's the coolest kid ever.
I would love that.
But she's working through it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm passionate about that. But I'm just passionate about broken people and broken things. And when you grow up in a middle class or lower class neighborhood, you're exposed to stuff that's not normal more often than not. And you don't realize how not normal it is until you become older. And then you're like, yeah, man, that wasn't normal. Yeah. That wasn't, in fact, it wasn't cool. I thought it was cool and it wasn't even fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like when you look back at it. So it's, my heart is always for those kind of instances. You know what I mean? I just look at, if everybody got to experience a little more of what other people have experienced, they would be so much more understanding. Like I look at addicts so differently. I look at homelessness so differently. I look at veterans so differently. You know what I mean? Because I have an uncle who got Agent Orange and has to speak through a trachea. You know, I'm old bike riding, just savage gangster dude that I wanted to be like my whole life with tattoos. You know what I mean? Just old veteran. So like, I had a mother who had a drug addiction. I had a father who drank. I have a baby mother who's currently and actively on drugs. So when you're exposed to all these different scenarios that to me felt normal, but they're not normal, then you're like, man, I just want to do more I can to shine light on that, to try to help people understand it. Because if we can understand it, we can all be a lot more empathetic of each other.
My Jelly Roll fandom started with this, and you've given a lot of great speeches, so I'll see if you can remember. You can't change until the pain of remaining the same is worse than the pain.
It takes to actually change them.
Right? And when you said that, it hit me because it made so much sense. A lot of times, getting out of the pain that we're in and the trauma that we're going through is difficult because it's the trauma that's comfortable.
Right.
Right? And changing becomes painful because now we're stepping in to the unknown. For you, what was the most painful time in your life?
It was probably truly, it's low-hanging fruit, Ryan, but it's probably when my daughter was born, when I was incarcerated. It was like, I tell the story this way. In jail, you're like, commissary is currency. So like soups, like noodles, like ramen noodles, potato chips, Zuzus, Wham Whams, honey buns. That shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like coffee, you know. And I was doing a little thing at the poker table, and I was in like the violent offender gang unit or something. I was always in wherever, because I had a robbery case and an attempted homicide, and I just had a bunch of affiliations. So I knew where I was going. Whatever facility I went to, I was going to the worst unit every single time. That's what I knew. And I was in there like, all right, this is what it is. And I was, you know, running the poker table a little bit. So I thought I was in there, big chest, big man. You know, I had 100 soups, 100 potato chips, 50 honey buns. I had so much commissary I was having to put it in other people's cells to hold it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was the only person in jail gaining weight. You know what I mean? It was insane. They came and knocked on my door and they were like, your daughter was born. And I just, from a street perspective, I was like, dude, I'm proud to be worth $50 worth of street food. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I'm proud of right now in my life, is that I'm worth more street food than most people in jail. Yeah. But outside of here, I'm worth nothing. Mm-hmm. I have whatever, the girl I was with burned all my clothes, which is a typical jail story. I have all these outfits out here. I'm like, I have one outfit in my actual place, like where they hold your, whatever you got locked up in. I have no clothes. I have no car. I have no phone. I have no money. And I am responsible for human life. Mm. In that moment, I could hear my father going, a smart man will learn from his mistakes, a wise man will learn from others. I was like, Pops, I think I'm only smart this time. Mm. You know, I think I missed the wise one. I think I'm only smart this time.
Your father passed 6 years ago today. And, you know, you mentioned getting an opportunity to go to the Senate to testify about addiction and fentanyl. You have custody of your daughter. You have an amazing life. You're achieving. You're successful. You have a beautiful wife. But you told a story earlier about wanting to give up and your father saying, I don't think that you're that type of person. Tell me a little bit about that experience and how that pushed you forward to this day.
Great callback. My father was, I was probably finna turn 30, and I was feeling that pressure of being 30. So I sat him down, and I was something about decades that make us all get frantic. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I'm fixing to be 20. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're 30, it's over. It's like 40, I'm dying. You know, 50, it's like, it's crazy. I was fixing to turn 30, and it was like, all right, man, I've been out of jail for, I guess, 5 or 6 years. And I was like, man, I pushed this thing as far as I can push it. You know what I mean? Like, I was selling T-shirts out of the car. I told you I was the guy at downtown Manhattan, making you take the CD in Times Square. Here, hold my CD, man, give me $20, put his hand in the pocket. You got to give him the money. It's crazy. I was that guy. I sat down with him at the Tin Roof, which was on Demumbrian Street. It was his favorite bar. He'd go to it every day at 4 o'clock. You could set your clock to it. They have a plaque over his bar stool to this day. He'd stay there from 4 to 6 every day to wait out traffic. That was his style. He's like, I'm not dealing with that traffic. Talk about a normal guy. After I get through, he goes, son, if you'd got out of jail and went straight into college, you would have just finished your bachelor's. You would be 2 years away from a master, 4 to 5 years away from a doctor's degree. He said, you never struck me as the kind of guy that when he finally set his mind to something, he would just stop at the middle of it. He'd just stop there. Quietly, he gave me the confidence that I really needed right then. But more than anything, I've told y'all, it reminded me of the meme you see now where the guy's digging and he gives up and he's 2 strokes away from the diamond. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Is that how right my father actually was in that moment. And he said this, he said, if you work that hard at something, as hard as you make it look like you're working, as hard as I believe you to be working, there's no way it won't pay off. He said, if you take a shovel outside every day and you dedicate every ounce of energy you have all day into digging a hole, you're gonna look up in 5 years and have a fucking huge hole. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I left that day like, he's right. And it came back to the 10,000 hours that you read about in Malcolm Gladwell's book. Mm-hmm. It all comes down to this same theory of like, they call Nashville a 10-year town, right? Because they say you move to Nashville to be a musician and you work really hard for 10 years and you'll find a job in the music business. Wow. Might not be the dream you came for, but if you truly come down here and dedicate 10 years of your life to the music business will eventually have a place for you if you're actually doing the work. You know, I would like to touch on this because I think it's important. A lot of people have a misconception of doing the work. A lot of people think they're working really hard and they're not. And I don't mean that to sound like I'm high-roading anybody, but y'all seen this. You know what I mean? Like, what separates y'all's podcast from a lot of podcasts, and the podcast that I see do the best is y'all hop on planes on short notice because I'm so stoned I give your producer the wrong date by a month. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all got a frantic and scramble. And then I got COVID or something, and y'all have to wait a day and get a whole new camera crew. But y'all pivot. Yeah. Like, I've seen the pivot in real life. I watched y'all have to pivot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, y'all are working. I see y'all everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are working. Like, it's not I slept in my bed 60 days last year. Yeah. Like, I'm working. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to use that term because I don't think I'm like working. Like, I know some people that work for a living, man. You know what I mean? Like, I just talk shit and write songs. You know what I mean? It's totally different, but I'm definitely putting in the time. And man, if you're really, really willing to work, you know what I mean? It's like you could know nothing about music. You can pick that guitar up right now, and if you'll play it for 2 hours a day for the next year, you're gonna be singing a song at your daughter's birthday next year, dude. Might not be a great song, but you're gonna be singing one for sure. I promise you. If you'll promise me you're actually playing it for an hour a day. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's the law of work. It never doesn't work. You know what I mean? If you're actually working. That's why in AA they say it works if you work it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's crazy.
I asked you about I made it moment. RC spoke about your father and not quitting moment. Somewhere in between being the kingpin in jail, you got your GED, yes. So we know you still had some hope in you. When was that I can't keep living like this moment? Like, when did things kind of hit you and you decided to change your life and become the person you are?
So I went straight and got my GED like right around the time my daughter was born. I immediately was like, I was finding value in the wrong things. I was like, man, once again, the law of work, this is gonna keep circling back, is that I'm in there like, I'm putting all this time into playing poker and spades. If I just hunkered down and read this GED book for a few days, I bet I could go in there and knock this test out. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, I just started looking at my time differently. It was probably the first thing that really happened was even now, like, I'm a menace with my time. Like, I'm very meticulous with it. These were the things, and I knew that in that jail, I was like, dude, I knew I never wanted to come back there. Even before the kid was born, I'm confident that was gonna be my last real jail run. You know what I mean? I don't know that without the kid, it would have lit the fire to go chase the dream. That's the truth. When I came out of jail, I had said this a lot, but I came home not even focused on being a musician at first. I was like, I just want to be a good father. And I went to my PO's office. It's a funny story. I don't know if I've told this enough. And they go, all right, you got to get a job. And I was like, no, I got a thing I'm doing. I'm chasing this dream. I'm going to be a musician. And they were like, yeah, that's cool, but you got to have a job. And I was like, is there an alternative? They was like, or go to college. And right then I was like, I did just get my GED. So I was like, how long do I have to go to school, have to go to work for? They was like, you got to work at least 40 hours a week. I was like, how long do I have to go to school for? They was like, you got to be at least a part-time student. And I was like, all right, cool. A part-time student was like 12 hours a week. I was like, this is a no-brainer. I'm gonna go to college instead of work. This is nuts. It gives me more time to chase the dream. You know what I'm saying? So I went and signed up for a little local community college. To show you my heart, I was majoring in social work because at worst, my fallback plan in life was I wanted to be a social worker for at-risk youth. I just wanted kids that were in similar situations of the ones that I was in, or kids that I knew were in that were even worse than me. You know, a lot worse. I know kids that had it way, way worse than me. I know kids that look at me like we were rich. You know what I mean? Like that's how levels to it is, y'all know. And I remember thinking, man, I want to just be an advocate for them if nothing else. You know what I mean? But I knew what I didn't want to. And I'll tell you something else that I'm honest about with people that they don't like is, but I knew for a fact that I didn't want to live in my neighborhood. Like it didn't take me a long time to be like, I don't want to live here. I don't like it here. Like I was a teenager still and I was like, this ain't where I want to live. You know, if I'm in charge of where I get to live, it's not going to be here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I love that neighborhood and I love that area and I go back to the high school all the time and we do a lot for the neighborhood and a lot of great people in that neighborhood. But I just knew that I was too fascinated with other things. You know what I mean? I didn't end up with a blonde bombshell from the West Coast by default. You know what I'm saying? Like I was infatuated. I liked other things. You know, from a young, I always had that drive. I mean, I had a father that cultured me well too. Even like, he taught me a lot about work, but he also like tradition. Like he would take us to the beach every year. He would take us to Louisville. Like we didn't go anywhere we couldn't drive, but man, you bet your butt we were driving somewhere. You know what I mean? Like if the SEC championship was happening down in Atlanta, Georgia, my dad was a bookie. So we're going down to Atlanta, Georgia, to the Georgia Dome. You know what I mean? Like I got this experience, and I just remember how much driving somewhere didn't mean nothing to him. And then I would come home to a neighborhood of people who had never even seen the Tennessee Titans play, and they were 18 minutes from our neighborhood. Yeah. And I remember once again, a wise man. I'm like, I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? I'd be like, yo, y'all want to come to the game Sunday? Like, wow, we can watch it right here. I was like, or we can go see it live. Right. It's actually happening 18 minutes down the street. I got tickets in the nosebleeds. They're like $18. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we should go. And they were like, no, we're chilling right there. They didn't want to leave the neighborhood at all. Yeah. You know what I mean? So all those little things, Fred, were just little things that just fired me up, dude. Right. You know what I mean? Little seeds. I hope the youth watching this starts paying attention more today to the little seeds that are being sown in them. Because had I known these little seeds were being sown, I'd have watered them sooner. You know what I mean? I'd have put water on them sooner. I'd have gave them living soil. I would have made it a nutritious thing, you know? So
you talk about your blonde bombshell. Why give up the threesomes for the marriage, you know? And there's so many stories. You got eloped. Yeah. Y'all ran to, like what you and Bunny, just lay the story out for me.
I don't want to talk about it much, but we, in the beginning, we definitely messed around too. You know, Bunny's from where she's from, so she always looked at that a little different because of her background with that business. So we had a lot of fun early, and then ultimately it just came down to the kid. Right. You know, and us growing. It's like I tell people, like, man, we got to give people grace at where they are in life. Like 8 years ago, me and my wife were lunatics. We were like doing drugs and popping them all the time. You know what I mean? Like pulling them out of bars. It was crazy. It was nuts. You know what I mean? It's like 8 years later, we're both kind of embarrassed to talk about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like my wife's gonna see this and be like, not again. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna be like, thank you for brushing over it this time, you know? But it's like with age, you just start looking at things, you're just like, And when the kid starts getting, how old your oldest?
13.
Oh, you're finna be there. You're finna feel it. You're finna feel it.
26, 23, and 20, so.
You're there. There's a moment where the content shifts, where they're just like, they hear it the way we say it instead of differently. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you mother. So it's like, it happens right around 15. You're like, you look at them and go, I got to be a little careful how I talk around you now. You really get it all. There's no secret with you anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
no doubt.
and a lot of growth, just growth in our faith too, and just each other and our own security in each other too, man.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, sometimes that stuff, not that this was our case, it might have been mine more than hers, obviously, but sometimes that's just an act of insecurity anyway.
Mm-hmm.
When you get super like, I'm so secure in my marriage, man. I'm so, I just, dude, it's awesome. It's funny, man. It's funny, but it keeps getting better. Everybody told me it was gonna get worse, and that was a lie. I guess we went through the hard shit the first few years, because man, it's only getting like smoother. And it's not even more like, this is so fun to talk about. It's not even more like I'm just settled in. Like, it's not even that old stale marriage where they're just like, like we're roommates. You know what I mean? It's like, we're just really getting better. Like I told her this morning, and I meant it, like she's getting hotter to me. Like the older we get, like the more I want to, of course, I'm also getting my hormones leveled out in the last year while I've been losing this weight. But it's like, I'm walking around the house like a little pouncing tiger now. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? I'm up there, I used to walk around that motherfucker looking like Eeyore, and I walk around like Tigger, just bouncing off my back tail. You know what I'm saying?
Your demeanor actually changed with that question from other questions.
Yeah.
Like you and Bunny got something special.
Man, I love her, man. That's my dude. You know what I'm saying? That's my partner, man. I told her literally this morning, I was like, I used to hate it when people go, that's my person. I used to be like, that is so whack. But I'm like, she's my person. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my person, dude.
Man, and then wrote that.
I love her, so I wanted y'all to meet her. I was like, I'm gonna come upstairs and meet the wife. You know what I'm saying?
For you, man, like you mentioned, bouncing around like Tigger. It's clear you're just like Jelly now. You're no longer Jelly Roll, which is a name given to you young, man. You've slimmed up. As somebody else who's also Camelback, I know it's a very difficult thing to do. You told us, man, that the reports are wrong, that they've been reporting the same weight for like 6 months. So tell us here, man, how much weight have you lost?
Listen, inside baseball, for those watching at home, we have spent the last hour hanging out here. I've took them out to meet the cows. I want to give y'all an assessment of how that played out. Channing, as the country boy in him, loved it, tickled him pink. Fred was okay with it. He wasn't super engaged, but he wasn't necessarily against it, as I expected. RC, totally not into the cow at all. You know what I'm saying? It played out as y'all watching would have thought it would have played out. But we talked about a lot of stuff over that time, and the only thing you brought up that I didn't want to talk about not on camera was my weight. And I said, you know what, we're going to save that because I want to set some records straight. I started this journey. I wasn't comfortable enough to talk about this at first because I would just kind of like throw spitball numbers out there. So like last year, I'm telling people, I'm down 70 or 80 pounds. And that was kind of like from my biggest. And then they balanced it. I think reports now are like 120, 130 or something. But from my absolute biggest, I am almost down 200 pounds.
Jeez.
From what was like, show pictures. I'll show y'all some pictures. I'll send y'all some. But I mean, my absolute biggest, I'm down on almost 200 pounds as of like 2 days ago. It has been quite a journey. I lost like 40 or 50 over the course of tour in 23. Mm-hmm. So when I started really hitting it in 24, when I first reached out to the Nelk boys on their podcast and talked about doing the Burt Kreischer 5K, which we're doing again this year. May the 4th in Tampa, Florida. Come see us if you want to run a 5K with me. I got with Gary Brecka, and I was still over 500 pounds. So I waited until I got under 500 pounds to take my first picture because I was so embarrassed with that 5 number, which in hindsight's so silly, right? That's that addiction stuff, right? That'll have you thinking that way. Mm-hmm. You know, that's weird stuff. I got through that too, all in my therapy. But I have a picture to this date that I sent Gary Brecka. I was like 498 of January of 24. And I'm like 350, 360, early 360s as of yesterday morning, 2 mornings ago.
Man, that's amazing. When you start that journey, you run the 5K, it continues now, and now you're, almost down 200 pounds. What sort of clarity has that brought you about yourself? Because I always think, right, when you have an addiction or you have addiction sort of personality, you have to replace your addictions.
Yeah.
Right? Like I stopped drinking a few years ago and I replaced it with club soda because it was a habit to order a beer or it was a habit to order a drink. And so when I'd sit down, I'd say, hey, just give me a club soda. Because I needed to make sure when I sat, I had something to drink right away. So I didn't think about trying to order a beer or order a drink, and now I don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
But I had to replace it. What did you replace some of your addictions with?
First of all, I get that so much. I have a girlfriend of mine. I hope she don't mind me telling this story. Her name's Ashley McBride. She's a country music singer. I was supposed to sing with her at the Opry. She's one of the greatest. And when she got sober, she did it through mocktails, kind of like you do club sodas. So like she'll have mocktail parties. When she won her Grammy, she had a mocktail party. Like, it's really fun. And now she finds fun in it. Like, it's really become her thing, where she was like at first scared to even get off the bus. And then she found like mocktails, and now she's like at every party, and she's still bubbly Ashley. Like, you would still think she's probably more fun now than she was when she was drunk. You know what I mean? She's still the life of the party. But for me, I had to approach food completely differently. Now, obviously, the easy replacement is I work out now, right? I'm physically, as you lose weight, I'm starting to do more physical, right? I'm starting to really like get into like, we shoot basketball 5 days a week on tour, like intense games, like we're hooping, you know? And like at 2 hours a day, like hooping. You start wanting to do more, like even in my activity life right now, our days off, every day off now, like we went to a water park the other day. I've been too fat to ride water slides my whole life. I rode a water slide last time when I was a kid.
Right.
Like literally. And I got to go ride water slides. Now there was 2 of my, out of 10 water slides, there was 5 I couldn't ride because of my weight still. And that would have put me in a shame spiral. And I would have went and ate and drank about it, you know, to feel my misery of like, oh, I've been working so hard and I still couldn't enjoy. That's where you had to do the work. You know what I mean? To know that about yourself and be like, you know what? Instead, it fires me up. I'm like, I'm coming back next year and riding every one of these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait till next year. Wait till I'm coming down on my belly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you look at it different. So I did that, but I had to just completely change the way that I look at food, like 100%. Like, every relationship I had with food, I had to reassess, all the way down to me walking into my pantry. And I know this is gonna sound very therapy-based, but it's real. Like, I was in my pantry last night. And I was just in there. And I didn't need water. I didn't need anything out of the pantry, and I'm in the pantry. So of course you're looking like, well, what can I eat while I'm in here? And then you think, why did I get in here without thinking about that? And then you have to check yourself and go, why am I in this pantry right now? And you know, this might sound super therapy, but sometimes I have to go, how old am I right now? Is this the 13-year-old kid that felt not accepted at school? That's on the verge of joining a gang? Is that who this is right now in this pantry?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or is this the 40-year-old man that's feeling the stress of work?
Right.
You know what I mean? What is this? If I need to figure this out, why am I in here? You know what I mean? Then right then you're like, get the fuck out of here. I can tell you, but what I've learned to teach myself now is my mentor's name's Miles Adcox. He runs one of the biggest mental health places in America. And he, I don't know how he says it, always up, but it's the idea of like reset, reassess, and re-enter. It's like, first thing I gotta do is get out of the pantry. I gotta reset and assess and do this assessment in a safer place. And then if I needed something from the pantry, I can re-enter with the right mindset.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I apply that, we started with the pantry, because I'd end up in the pantry eating 2,000, 3,000 calories of sugar at 4 o'clock in the morning. But now I do it in life. Like, I start catching myself getting snazzy with my wife or people I work with, and I might be a dickhead for 3 or 4 days, and then I have to reset, reassess, do a little humbling of myself, and re-enter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just started applying these principles. It's changed my whole life, man. I look at food, and what I didn't want to do was, last time I lost a bunch of weight, I crash dieted RC. I didn't want to do that again. I was like, I want to do this the healthy way. Like, right now, if my wife comes down here and goes, hey, you want to go grab sushi? For sure. You know, where like before, it'd be like, I can't eat that. It's like, I can eat whatever I want to eat. I'm a grown man. I just can't eat in excess. Right. And I only want to eat stuff that makes me feel better, not worse. And the more I started living by that, the more you find yourself at a steakhouse like, yeah, I'll just take a steak and you cook it with butter only, and I'd like a salad. Yep. Because I know this is gonna make me feel good. You know what I mean? Where I used to walk in like, I want the lobster mac. You know what I'm saying? What do you got for appetizers? You know what I'm saying?
So you used to go in there like,
we need a bread basket. Yeah, bread basket ASAP. Like I was fixing to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a bread basket now. You know what I'm saying? I'm firing appetizers while she's grabbing my Coke order. Yeah. I'll take a Coke, but can we get 3 fried calamaris and some bread? She's like, fucking, you know what I mean? It was just disgusting. You know what I'm saying?
Men's health, man. Men's health, here we come, man.
Men's health, baby.
2026.
January. January 2026.
Yes, sir.
You know what? I'm gonna be on there with my little turkey legs, my little turkey arms hanging, dude. You should see this thing. I've been wearing these. Look, I've been wearing these compression shirts under my shirt for my shows. And I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, my wife was like, why are you wearing those? I was like, I gotta show you. She's like, I love them. I think they're rock and roll. But I was like, well, let me show you why. And I hit her with the boopy, and she was like, oh, I see. And I was like, listen, 50 pounds ago, I was like, I'm never cutting skin. Now I'm like, 100 pounds from now, I'm cutting some skin, dude, for sure. I was like, I cannot, dog. I'm sagging. It's crazy, dude. My nipple is touching my navel.
I mean, it's more concerning that they moved in this way than anything.
It's just complete saggy boobs, dude. I'm like a saggy old stripper.
Hey, Jelly, man, I'm just sitting over here thinking again, bro, we really appreciate you letting us do this here at your crib, man. I mean, just walking around, checking out the plaques coming down the stairs. You got gold, you got platinum. And this is a kid who almost gave up on a lot of stuff. And I'm going down your track list, listening to some of my favorite songs on the way here. Pop Another Pill, Son of a Sinner, obviously Losers with you and Post. What's your favorite song that you've done?
Can I ask y'all a question first? How humble was Post Malone?
Amazing.
He was awesome.
Is he not the most, for a dude that is selling stadiums out, one of the biggest acts in the entire world? I'm glad y'all got to see him in like an unexpected environment, because that's when you really get to see people, when they're just kind of walking somewhere to kind of be quiet, and then they bump into some other people that were looking for somewhere to be quiet.
Listen,
it's cool.
He bought me a drink.
Yeah.
That's him.
They were both sitting beside each other. I took a drink. I didn't know which was which, but I took one of them. 5 minutes later, I grabbed RC. I said, bro, did I grab the right drink? Because I'm floating right now. I don't know what the fuck Post got in his drink, but I'm floating. But it was like a fruit punch with some moonshine, this and that. We toasted, cheers, man. It was such a good experience from somebody who sells out arenas and bigger than life.
Yeah.
But he was just down to earth and enjoying everybody in that small bar in the Nashville Palace.
That's
it was dope.
I didn't really love that he called me sir.
Yeah.
No, listen.
I'm not of sir age.
Yeah, but man, let me tell you something about Post, man. He calls my wife, ma'am. Like, I'm a manners guy too. I grew up very manners-ish, and I'm sir, ma'am to people too, but like Post is the epitome of like, he truly is. He would say it to a child. He is that programmed to just be that kind of a heart. And I'm sorry, I just didn't want to take 2 seconds for us not to all give him his flowers.
Nah, he was awesome. Man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Sorry, what was the question again?
What's your favorite track of yourself, of your own?
Great question, great question. Save Me. It brought me to the dance. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's always, I hope to write one I like more one day. You know what I mean? Because I like songs I've wrote more as far as their purpose even. But like the song that I can just undeniably know is all artists have a song. Malcolm Gladwell, again, I read this in jail, The Tipping Point. Y'all read The Tipping Point?
I haven't.
You got to check it out.
Outliers,
Any Malcolm
and The
Gladwell
Tipping
book,
Point.
you seen it?
No.
Yeah.
I read Outliers and Tipping.
There's not a bad, Talking to Strangers, you can't miss with
I haven't
him.
read that one.
Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. Talking to Strangers is wild. That was my tipping point. Like the whole book, Freddie talks about like these big moments that happen, like when certain shoe companies would take over and how it felt like it just happened out of nowhere, but it was kind of building. You just didn't see it, and then the tipping point just makes it explode. Okay. Save Me was that. Like, I looked up yesterday, I hadn't even got to talk about this yet. Save Me just hit 300 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Dude, 300 million views. It was an independently shot video. One girl shot it by herself that worked for my wife, just was in the studio the day we recorded it. I played it. I was like, while you're here with your camera, will you just catch us? Like, and just to think that thing's at 300 million views. Crazy, man. Just.
I know you love country, but you seem like you love music.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and you have an appreciation for all genres of music, the work that goes into it. Are there any dream collaborations outside of country music that you'd like to do?
Man, it was obviously M. M was, man, that was a big one. So many. Miley Cyrus. I love Miley, and she don't do a lot of features, and I know that, so I might not ever get it, and I'm still gonna love her the same. But it's just, I would just love Miley. Taylor, obviously, and I know it seems like I'm just naming the two biggest female artists ever, but I'm sure. But in my defense, they both have Tennessee roots, right. To some degree. Like, I know Taylor's but she moved here and went to high school here, and she bought a playground out in Hendersonville where I used to push my daughter on a swing set when she was a baby, so. Right. Just like she has that connection, like Miley's father and family grew up with a farm not far from this one right here. So it's like, to me, I love that kind of stuff. You know, man, growing up loving Memphis rap, it's like, I definitely want to get one in with like Moneybag, you know what I mean? Or like something like that. I definitely want to do one with Gotti or something like, or Glorilla really. Actually, Glow. Glow, let's do it, Glow. We talk about it all the time, Glow. Let's do it, Glow. I love Glow, that's my girl. I was this close away from her being on my album or me being on hers. But we just literally like, I'd have my people hit the line and be like, yo, you here? She'd be like, just left. And then she banged back like 5 days later, like, I'm in LA, y'all here? We just kept barely scraping by. So I love Glow. She's on red hot fire.
Yes, she is.
It's so fun. And she's got such a good spirit about her.
Does,
R&B SZA, you know what I mean? I don't think anybody's even getting close to what she's doing right now. And yeah, I could almost bore y'all talking about this because I just love so much different music and just so many different styles of music. Doechii, dude, what a killer. Yeah. Yes. Man, her new record is so crazy. And the record where she's talking to the therapist again, it's so fire. She's just they're so innovative.
The knowledge of river.
Just they're so innovative over there. Big X the Plug. I got a record with Big X the Plug coming for sure. Okay. I'm working on it right now, X. It's coming soon. Don't drop the album without me, motherfucker. It's coming, Big X. If Big X drops the album without me, he didn't watch The Pivot. Y'all know that. Because I've been cooking on that for about a week now, so I want to make sure I get it right, because I want to make sure whatever we do feels special, because I love what he does so much.
Absolutely.
I think Mexican OT and me talk about it all the time, too. So, you know, any one of those collaborations are definitely in the works for me.
You bring up Reba McEntire, Dustin. You bring up the big country guy. I forget the damn name, the dude...
Cody Johnson.
Cody Johnson.
Why you do like that?
That's what he did when he talked about
you're not
the big
gonna roast
motherfucker.
the cattle like that.
But now you bring up SZA, you talking about Big X the Plug. Like, are you one of the most diverse guys in music right now? Because I'm sure the roping guy ain't hot like Glorilla.
I will say, with as humbly as I can say it, I've definitely been exposed to a lot more culture. You know what I mean? Like, than most people, as far as like nature growing up, being incarcerated. You know what I mean? I've got to like really, and listen, man, I say this story on stage and I think nobody understands how real it is. I had 3 older brothers and an older sister. Technically I had 2 older brothers and an older sister, but I say I had 3 older brothers and 2 older sisters. But because my brother-in-law, who's with my sister, has been with him since I was like 7. They're gonna be in Canada with me tomorrow. But my sister, because I grew up in that kind of household, y'all remember this in this era, because we're all around the same age. Music back then was like identity, right? Where now it's more fluid. Like back then it was like you were one thing or another. You wasn't both. That wasn't okay. Music was an identity thing. So by default, that's how you stood out. So my sister didn't listen to nothing but rock and roll music. And I used to wonder why, and then it's easy, because the 2 older brothers listened to nothing but gangster rap music.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I had a mother who listened to oldies and country, and a father that listened to like jazz and singer-songwriters. He introduced me to Bob Dylan. Yep. Talked about Bob Dylan earlier. Yeah. He introduced me to like Bob Dylan, James Taylor, Jim Croce, who ended up being my favorite singer-songwriter.
So Jim Croce is my father's favorite singer-songwriter.
No.
So grew up on Time in a Bottle, all of it. Like my dad would just sit me in the room, put the cassette tape in, man, and we just sit and listen. Like, so my father's like Jim Croce, Hall & Oates, Culture Club, like, so all of that stuff was my father, and like the same as you, that was how I got introduced to all these different genres of music.
Dude, you know how many people don't know who Jim Croce is? You know how much this tickles me right now that you knew Time in a Bottle? You want to hear a story about Time in a Bottle?
Absolutely.
He wrote that about his son, AJ Croce. And he died before his son was, I think, even born, or it was right after his son was born. He ended up dying in that plane crash. You know how he died? This is a crazy, you mind if I tell them this? It's a crazy story. Jim Croce, singer-songwriter guy with a guitar. Cool. He had a quote that he said, I live by this quote too. I'm a quote guy. He said, if you dig it, do it. If you really dig it, do it twice. Wow. That was like that was just to show you his personality. But he wrote songs about crazy shit. Like crazy, crazy shit. Like he had a song he wrote about falling in love with a roller derby queen. You know, the girls that used to do the roller derby back in the 70s? He was like, and he described her as a 200-pound refrigerator. And he was like, I just fell in love with the roller derby queen. He wrote all these wild songs about just wildly, like, very muse-driven. And he wrote this song about his son. It's but I could put time on the ball. It's a very, very sultry song. But to show you his songwriting style, he wrote a song called I Have to Say I Love You in a Song. And
Excellent song.
Excellent song. So I have to say I love you in a song. Ooh, you got a voice too, RC.
I don't.
No. If you stay right there, you'll be all right. Just stay low.
Yeah,
Stay low right
Stay
there.
low.
I know what to do for the show.
Yeah,
Jelly.
okay.
You feel me?
The story about that song is, Jelly Roll quote I live by. Every song has a story, but every story doesn't have a song, and that's why I have a job. You know what I mean? Him and his wife get in an argument one night, and he goes downstairs, cracks a few beers and smokes a joint, picks up his guitar. And at like 3 o'clock in the morning, he wakes her up. He goes, hey. And she wakes up, and Jim Croce is sitting at the foot of the bed with his guitar, and he sings her, I Have to Say I Love You in a song. And I think the argument was like, he said something, he's like, what do you want me to do? She's like, just say you love me.
Wow.
And he was like, man, kind of went downstairs, did the dude thing. You know what I'm saying? And he came back and wrote her a song. All by himself, turned out to be one of the greatest songs ever. So he had booked a show in, I think, Louisiana.
Yep.
God, it's ironic. And he had missed the show for something. And a year and a half later, he blew up. And he'd only got like $5,000 for the show. And he calls the promoter and goes, hey man, I want to make that right. I can do it between this day and this day. And he books a private jet for a $5,000 show. He's losing money to go make it right. And talking about character. Flies down there and does the show. Was it flying in or out? I think it was out, right? Did he get to do the last show or
I
no?
can't remember if he did the show or not.
That's what I can't remember either. It's an important detail. But either way, the plane crashed.
crashed.
Damn. True story. My 5 favorite artists of all time, we're finna bro down. My 5 favorite artists of all time, if you like Jim Croce, this is how I describe my 5 favorite artists of all time. It's James, Jim, Bob, and Bob.
Okay, so
James Taylor, Jim Croce, Bob Dylan,
okay.
Bob Seger, Bob Marley. My 5 favorite singer-songwriters of all time.
That's amazing.
I get lost in them catalogs with y'all right now. We could turn on records right now, light up a joint and spin, y'all have to cancel your flight. We just sit here all day and I'd be, like I just told you those stories, every song I play, I'd be like, you wanna hear the story about this song? And then I'd drop the needle and be like, y'all would be so disgusted. Or y'all be like, this is cool, but I should start a radio show.
Hey,
one day.
Jelly, you spoke about music being identity. Like you can feel it, right? The names you just mentioned, you mentioned Bob Marley. There's a certain feeling that comes when you mention their name. And now I usually ask our guests, what's their biggest pivot, right? You've talked so much about things in your life. I don't want to ask you that. What I want to ask you is, when people hear the name Jelly Roll or Jelly, what feeling would you like them to feel when they hear your name?
Man, God, that's probably fuck, Fred. That's hard. Encouraged, I would hope. Self-belief, love, but I don't know, love's hard to say because I don't know if I'd want them to feel love because of my name. You know what I mean? I want them to feel confidence. Empathy or compassion. I hope if nothing else, I just hope it makes people be more empathetic and understanding, create more honest dialogue. I think that I hope I encourage people to want to just talk more about stuff that we don't consider table talk.
Right.
We did a lot of not table talk today, boys. I mean, we got deep. You know what I mean? Like we did a lot of
Conversation. I love it.
And to speak about that, bro, I got to bring it up because you say so much stuff in passing. We're out there on the farm. I'm out there messing with your donkeys and your cows and all. And you're like, yeah, I have 600 acres up the road. I'm about to build, something for the kids to come out and experience summer camp. And you be saying some, so loving stuff, like it's so nonchalant, bro. What you doing with your 600 acres up the road?
Oh, man, I've been praying about it. I think I'm going to build something for at-risk youth, man. Something where, we were talking about it, honestly, is that a lot of people don't get to experience that. Like, just the peacefulness of the country. You know what I mean? Like when you really get to go out and the noise of the city ain't there and you don't feel in danger anymore. Right. You know what I mean? Like you just feel, sometimes we are who we are because of our environment more than anything, right? Like I always tell people that the difference between why I wanted to go into sociology instead of psychology was, psychology goes, oh, what's wrong with him? Sociology goes, what happened to him? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like, you bring people, it was me going to my uncle's farm from our neighborhood that made me go, oh man, there's a place where you can just come out and ride 4-wheelers and be at peace. Like, you can go pet cows. You know what I'm saying? That you can shoot guns, that you can, like, the things that you're the most afraid of are safe here. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a different thing. And since me and my wife bought that farm, every time I go there, I have the best day of my life. Every time. And every time I'm having a bad day that I can go there, I've only had that farm 2 years now, I guess, year and a half. And I still have already had to go there and deal with some deep stuff. And it's been so good for me that I was like, at first I was gonna keep it for us and just like, oh, this will be my place of peace. And I was like, man, other people should experience this peace. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta make this for people that would never otherwise, if I'd never seen my uncle's farm, I would have never thought I could have bought that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it instilled that
experience
little thing in me that made me like, maybe I could buy a farm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and like I told my wife, I was like, God's good, man, we'll buy us another one. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll be all right.
Every now and then we sit with someone, and we sit with some excellent humans that, you know, that inspires you. And you speak so openly about things that have changed your life. We couldn't ask like our most important question, right? The biggest pivot, because your entire life has been a pivot. I mean, the reason this is so impactful was because you were supposed to be at the Grand Ole Opry, and just from being that young man who was sitting in jail that found out about his daughter being born to that was such a major pivot.
Do you think that was my biggest one?
Huh?
Do you think that was my biggest pivot?
Do I think that was your biggest pivot?
You heard the story today, and almost in full.
I don't.
What do y'all think my biggest pivot was?
I don't get to answer that for you. My next question is about that, but I think your biggest pivot is yet to come.
Oh, God bless. I'll take that one.
Because this was my question. We talked about being chosen, and you said that you were. And you said that you feel like you were, that you have a calling. I played with a lot of people growing up who were better athletes than me. Channing probably did, Fred probably did. Like, he's that talented. But we see all these people around us, Jelly, that succumb to what the hood has for them. They get involved with what their environment seems to tell them this is the only way out, or these are the only things that you can succeed. And we watch them fall by the wayside. I believe that God gave us all the talent, and we get to choose whether we use it for the kingdom or not, right? We get to make that decision. He gave you more time to figure out what you wanted to do with your talent. My question to you, I have two, would be this. Why did God pick Jason, of all people, to have more time, and how do you make it right with him?
I think God knew that I wasn't ready for this a moment sooner than he gave it to me. And even then, I think God was going, I think it's a little early, but you've waited a long time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because even when I look at the first beginning of it, I was like, yeah, I was still a little off the rails there. But I hope it continues to grow that way. You know what I mean? I hope that that is what it was. I truly believe that it didn't happen for me in my 20s like everybody else, because it was supposed to happen in my late 30s. You know what I mean? I was supposed to be the oldest artist ever nominated for Best New Artist of the Year at the Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Right. I was supposed to be the oldest artist to ever win it at CMAs. That was supposed to be my story. What was the second one? How can I make it right with him?
How can you make it right? You said, earlier you said, God, we have to be in the black, at least now.
Yeah.
How do you get it above the black to where now God is sitting up there saying, I picked you and it's paying dividends for my kingdom now?
Yeah. I just got to keep acknowledging him in all things I do. And I think that he'll keep working out the rest. He won't let me run away, I can tell you that much. Every corner I turn, he's catching me again. You know, it's the best defense I've ever played against. I've been trying to get away forever. I recently did a record with a guy named Brandon Lake. He's currently the biggest Christian artist on earth. It's amazing. And even then I was just like, you know, I pay attention to God when he talks to me now. Because whenever they called about it, I was like, I still even had a why me moment. You know what I mean? I was like, God, and when I got on the phone with this guy, I tried to talk him out of doing the feature. You know, I got on the phone with him and was like, hey man, have you ever seen some of the stuff I've said about the church that went viral? And he was like, yeah. I was like, let me send you this clip and make sure. And I sent him a clip. I'm just like, he calls back, he's like, yeah, I seen it, man. And I was like, you don't want to pick somebody a little less polarizing than country music? You know what I'm saying? I was like, there could probably be somebody that's maybe more aligned. And he was like, nah, man, you're for God. He's like, I know that in my heart. He was like, you're the guy for this song, man. And I was like, all right. I mean, it could possibly be one of the biggest songs of my career. It's going viral in every metric I've ever seen. So I just got to keep listening and acknowledging them, man. You know what I mean? And I think I'm starting to say that I'm not starting to see the seeds grow is a lie. You know, you see it, but man, you can't. It's here. You know, you can't miss it. You can't have money. That's what Channing told me. That's the first thing Channing said. He was upstairs 2-6. You can't hide money. I was like, country motherfucker.
He's a pocket counter.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Jelly ain't hurting. Jelly ain't hurting, I'll tell y'all.
So no, it's been good, man. He's been good. He's been better to me than I deserve.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd want to say or even ask us before we get out of here?
First of all, I want to just say thank y'all for coming. Sincerely, man. I've been wanting to do this podcast. You know that, though. We talk about it. It's just been trying to get it right and find the right time to do it. So I love what y'all are doing, man.
Thank you.
I love how much y'all care. I hope people recognize that. I think that's why y'all's pod does good, though, is that there's such a difference between some guys that are just trying to, like, charisma their way through something. You know what I mean? And then guys who actually give a fuck. Right. And figure it out and come in and know kind of what they want to talk about and have an idea and know how to stay out of each other's way and not turn into a pissing contest. Like, y'all have just done so good at that, man. I hope y'all recognize that y'all's superpower is that y'all's it's the same thing with Will and Taylor. It's one of the few times when you go is that the podcasts that have groups of people that do the best to me are the ones that you can truly see what happens off the camera coming on the camera.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you can see, like I seen the clip of y'all stumbling through Jeff Ruby's, and it's the same group of guys. It's the same group of guys I was just in the cow pasture with. You know what I mean? It's the same three dudes busting each other's balls.
I love that.
The same way. It's been really special. I got to get y'all to come out to one of these Post Malone Jelly Roll shows, man. They're going to be,
hell yeah.
Shameless plug, I am on tour. JellyRoll615.com. Please, y'all, please come and see us. Please come and see us. And just thank y'all, man. No. Sincerely, man.
Nah, brother, thank you.
And y'all got to do my wife's podcast. Y'all talked about it upstairs, but I want it on the record here. Y'all got to come down and do the Dumb Blonde podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Chan has some stories he'd like to tell. We went on Nick Cannon's podcast, and nice young lady sitting there, Nick sitting there, and Chan told the story about the first time he had crabs.
Bad feeling, Jelly.
Yeah, no, the crabs are scary. Chlamydia, not as much. Gotta get right through that, right? You know what I'm saying?
They both itch.
How many times have you had chlamydia now? Tell the truth. Come on.
Because sometimes they just give you that overall shot, so they don't really know what exactly it is.
So you didn't get the real test to know.
It drips sometimes, and they give you the same shot.
That's a true thing. They're like, this is a blanket shot.
You know about the peanut butter though?
No.
That's the thing with the crabs. He said you just got to layer it with peanut butter.
No, you had the peanut butter up.
You got to suffocate all the crabs.
Oh no,
yeah.
That's like lice. It's like sexual lice. It's like
bullshit.
You ever had chlamydia, Fred?
Never.
Yeah, I'm not in that boat. I'm not in that boat, brother.
Oh shit!
I like to split the room normally by Super Bowl champions. Yeah. We're gonna split it by chlamydia. In this one, yeah.
Hey, we didn't enjoy it. I like it.
Man, listen, man. You stand close to the fire every night and you get burnt. You know what I'm saying? Part of getting that heat, boys.
Hey, man. I don't know where to go from there.
Well, Channing, you sure you don't want to? I know you wanted to ask him about role playing. He kind of glazed over everything because he used to hear kitty man.
Oh, no.
He said him and Bunny, he said he wanted to keep it. He went too far before. I respect my man. He said he wanted to keep him and Bunny's relationship.
Was he want to talk about role playing?
Oh, nah. He done been in nudist colonies with Kevin Hart, talking about Kevin Hart's show.
Yeah, we have a good time. Yeah, me and my wife enjoy each other's company in many different forms.
Listen, man, Killer Mike preaches the same thing. If it's healthy, it's healthy. You know what I mean? I tell everybody, man, I learned something in marriage, man. Anybody who tells you it's a one-size-fits-all, finna get divorced.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I can tell you that much.
Real talk.
Anybody who thinks their marriage is a one-size-fits-all kind of glove, that's ending in the next decade for her, sure. You know what I'm saying? You can count on that, dog. People are gonna change. You better evolve with the motherfucking times. You know what I'm saying? That's the only choice you got, dude.
Would you wear a cat outfit and lay on your porch and meow
And me,
until the cat lady came
That's
out?
what he did. You do the no. That's the. You're really on.
It's
some
raining
shit.
outside,
Yeah.
and you want to get in the house, so
Yeah.
you by the door, you scratch on the door, and the cat lady comes and gets you. Then you start fucking.
I'm gonna go upstairs tonight dressed as one of our cows, and Buddy's gonna tell me get the fuck out. I'm gonna come in looking like Crunch mooing with a big head.
Nah, man, but hey, this was phenomenal. Like you said, man, we've been trying to do this for a long time. I remember the excitement of seeing you on the red carpet in Vegas, and we were on this side, jumped over to have a conversation with you. And since that moment, this was something I felt like we needed to do. And thank you for being so gracious to us every time we see you, being so kind, man, to let us in your house. But not even that, just the feeling of feeling welcomed when we walked in here, man. It's the same way you've been, whether it's been in Philly, Las Vegas, New Orleans. I was texting with Chum,
Yeah.
right? He's become my homeboy now.
Chum's fun.
Yeah, he's become my homeboy now.
Philly guy,
and I was just, I was studying and I was just asking him some questions like, this is right, is this right? I said, just tell me something about him that maybe I couldn't read or I couldn't watch. And he said, he's the most gracious person I've ever been around. He said he always wants whoever's with him to be okay. I don't think that's something you can learn, man. I think that's something that you have to have. And so keep being the blessing, man. You blessed us today. We appreciate you.
For sure.
Love y'all boys.
My man, no
Thank
doubt.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
That's dope.
if Jelly walked upstairs dressed as a cow, bro, that joke would be funny as hell, dog.
Cows be jugging
Could
now.
you imagine